Hey everyone, and welcome back to Be a Warrior podcast. All right, last week talked about the ocean and how it can be really a cleansing of the soul. How many of you guys actually got to the ocean or listened to the sounds of the ocean or even found a video of the ocean waves crashing? I did. I had to. I actually was going back through some of my old videos and some pictures and just kind of reminiscing. And I also had made a playlist that, for me, music speaks so much to my heart and the emotion in music. And you can actually hear a song that you maybe haven't heard for a decade, and it'll bring you right back to where you remember hearing it. And that's how I felt with the ocean. So for me, when I told you last week, I spent the week before last, about a week in California. I literally spent one of those days kind of focusing on the music I had in one earpod, and I created a playlist for that. And so for me, it wasn't so much hearing the ocean as much as the music that I listened to while I was sitting by the ocean took me there. If you have never experienced that, you really need to try it. Music is just soothing to the soul. It can rile you up, it can motivate you, it can make you cry, it can make you laugh, and it makes you reminisce of all the good things in life. And sometimes it'll bring back sad or tragic memories. But for this case, they were really good memories. And for some odd reason, I don't know where you guys are at, but our weather is absolutely insane. It is February, beginning of February, first week of February, and it's 80 degrees outside here in Arizona. I'm sorry, I am so not ready for 80, not yet. I went outside this morning thinking, oh, this is gonna feel really good. I'll just sit outside and just enjoy the weather. And I'm like, okay, you need to go in, you're sweating. This is not a good look. So I don't know if you're getting the same thing. It's crazy how weird this world is. And we have had one day of rain finally. I'm assuming that made it so our record wouldn't be broken. We were only a couple days away from record-breaking dryness, which isn't one thing we want to hold, but darn it, we made it that far. It would have been nice to have a record-breaking before that little bit of rain, because I don't think that rain did much for us, to be honest. But we did get it nonetheless. Now, for this week, I wanted to talk about the word no. There is a lot that happens as an amputee. We go through a lot. And I see people wanting to do things and try things, but I also hear the negative side of that where, well, that always happens for that person, or they always get lucky, or they've got the right connections or whatever. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can make your life what you want it to be. And that goes with the fact is, if you do not ask a question, the answer will always be no. You need to be able to put it out there and be confident enough to put it out there. And here's where I'm going to tie in a couple things. I have been very blessed with the passage of time as an amputee and the things I've got to do, the experiences I've had, the people that I've met, and the niceties that I have received from said people. Whether it is just them following me and building my network, or if it is something they actually did for me, or how they treat me, it has always been very pleasant. I haven't had the negative impact of being an amputee. And I contribute that to a couple things. Number one, I like to smile. I said this in the last episode, smiling is my favorite. But when you smile at the world, when you're out and about, you'd be very surprised how many doors that opens in all respects, whether it's just a simple hello and a smile back, which for me makes me happy. If I made someone smile, they made me smile. It's a wonderful thing. We need more of that in the world today. But it also opens doors for people to ask questions, find out your story, if you are so inclined to share it. And yes, I do understand some of you don't want to share your story, or you're done sharing your story, but take that into account, that also closes doors. So the other day, I'm going to give a huge shout out right now, because last Saturday, not this Saturday, the last Saturday, I went with my son to go pick up his new boots that he got, and he had them form fitted and an insole that was made for his foot fitted. Because if you ski at all, the thing that you can't skimp on is the boots. The boots for skiers, they're so tight and so restrictive, it's insane. Now, for those of you that know me, you know I ski. And if you don't know me, I ski. I've been skiing since my husband taught me back when we were 17 years old. And our dream was always to be able to retire and ski wherever we wanted to ski, that someday we would do that. The problem is you become an amputee. And I'll tell you, for the 5 years that I was struggling with surgeries on my knee, I wasn't sure I'd ever ski again. And those 5 years, I missed out on every ski trip. I might go, but I watched from the sidelines and cried a lot after my sons would go up with their dad. And I missed out on all that. And it was really, really tough because those were really formative years of our kids improving, getting more coordination in their growth. And I missed seeing that up on the slopes and never thought I'd ever be on the top of a mountain in snow with my family again. Fast forward to 2018 when I had my surgery for amputation in December. And my husband had already created our next year's plans. In April, we were skiing. And he knew that I wouldn't be skiing as an amputee only 4 months after. No, it was just over 3 months after my surgery. And I told him, nope, I was going to do it. That was my first huge goal that I set for myself, was in April of the year after my surgery, I was going to ski. And of course, I didn't know anything about the ski world as an adaptive skier. I was so new. I knew no amputees. At that time, you didn't pre-research groups and people and ask to be a part of an amputee group knowing something was coming. I kind of went into my own little bubble, and the only people that I met was 2 people that I had a peer support or a peer meetup while they were having their appointment at a possible prosthetist I was going to use. And then when I had to switch to prosthetist that I was going to use because of insurance, I met my assistant prosthetist, who was an amputee, and those were the 3 people that I knew. That was it. So they were down-to-earth people, lived right here, and just were going on with life. So I just said, the sky's the limit. I don't know what I am able to do. I don't know what I'm not capable of doing, but dang it, I'm going to try everything and see where I land. And for me, skiing, the way I wanted to ski was, I was going to ski standing up. Now, my husband wanted me to try skiing in a monoski. And I told him, nope, I want to see the world standing on a ski again. That was always where I thought I'd be all my life. And gave him a few gray hairs. I don't know if he was really wanting me to do that, but that's how I learned in April. And I will tell you, it was the scariest thing I'd done. And it was exhaustive. I mean, 2 hours of skiing for the first time on a leg that hadn't really been used because I sat around for 5 years on surgery after surgery. So I had no muscle tone. I had no cardio. I had nothing. And here I was trying to ski with one leg and outriggers. I will tell you, it can be done. But I would say the hardest part is facing the fear. The fear of learning something new. The fear of getting on a rope tow for the first time, because I never learned on a rope tow. So I was doing that for the first time as an amputee and first time ever. First time getting onto a ski lift and sitting in line. The scary first time getting off the ski lift and hoping to God I didn't trip and fall and create a problem. There's a lot. So fear was the biggest thing, and I had overcome a lot, and I still do. I still have a little bit of fear that wells up before I start every season. But the funny thing is when my son went to go pick up his boots, I was like, gosh, you know what? I have had my skis for well over 20 years. And in 20 years, just like anything, there is up and coming and new and better technology and this and that. And I just thought I would ask Gil at SkiPro here in Phoenix if they ever get a Rogue ski. I just need one. That is the reason why I've never got new skis. I don't want to spend the money on 2 skis and 2 boots because that sucks. I only use half of that. So I just asked him, does anybody ever bring in like where they have a broken ski and there's a ski that you just get rid of? And he said, yeah, we actually get some skis that people just say, get rid of them. They're getting new ones, just get rid of them. So he looked at me and he's like, do you know what you like? And I'm like, well, no, I've never really checked out skis as a mono skier or an outrigger skier, a 3-tracker. And he said, well, 1 second, I'll be right back. So my poor son, who went to go pick up his boots, was now my hostage. And we were sitting there waiting, and all of a sudden, Gil comes out from the back with a pair of skis. They're beautiful Solomons. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, look, this is the right size, isn't it? He goes, here you go. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? He goes, take them. They were going to go to the landfill. All right, so folks, if you are an amputee and you want to ski, I know a lot of amputees that talk about like Nike One Shoe program. Yes, there are companies out there that have, if you want to run and you have a running blade that doesn't fit a shoe and you need a right or a left, Nike does that and they send it to you free. You won't get to totally pick yours, but you can tell them what kind you like, trail or running or hiking or whatever, and you can tell them what colors you'd rather have and what size you are and what side of the shoe you need, left or right. And then they send you what they have. And it's awesome. Like I got a pair right after I got my running blade or a single. Because who wants to buy $150 Nikes only to use one? So if you have one that you need, check it out. Well, here you go. If you are a skier or you want to try skiing, there are many ways to ski. Like I said, you can do mono skiing, which is sitting in a bucket and your legs are strapped ahead of you and you use small outriggers, little ones, and you ski in a bucket where you're closer to the ground. Or you can do like me and you can just, I don't wear my prosthetic leg. I just put my right boot on, my right ski on, and I have outriggers that look like ski poles, but they have little tiny skis on them. And in the back of the outriggers, there's teeth, like metal teeth, and those are your brakes. Or you can pop them up and they can be kind of used as crutches to get from place to place when your ski isn't on. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Gil, thank you so much. What a super duper guy. Like, I'm so impressed. And again, if you don't ask, the answer is no. Most people wouldn't think going to a big corporation like SkiPro that they're going to just give anything away. And yet, if it helps me do better, have a better product and get it out there. I mean, it was somebody else's old ski, but it looked epic. It was nice. It's a Solomon. They're meant to last. And I said, okay, so then I told Gil, I said, listen, this is awesome. Thank you so much. Do you know that if I write any of these boot companies, if they might have something like the One Nike shoe bank? And he's like, oh, I bet they would, And he goes, well, hold on 1 second. And he goes, let me measure your foot. Because I'm like, yeah, if you could, because I wouldn't even know what size to ask them for. And so he measured my foot and he's like, well, this is kind of cool. He goes, I'll be right back. And I looked at my son like, there's no way that he has boots in the back for me. And he came back, he goes, yeah, I don't have any boots. He goes, but you are the same boot size as I am. So he's probably about my height. So he's about 5'7". And he's like, my wife's been dying for me to get rid of some of my boots because I've done a lot of like heavy duty skiing up in Washington. And he goes, I've been with this company forever. This would be a great way for me to clear out my closet. And I'm like, awesome. He goes, I'll call you on Tuesday and I'll bring them in. And I'm like, that's great. Thank you. And of course, you left and I was so excited. I got to take these new skis with me when I left. And I showed my husband, he goes, whose are those? And I'm like, mine. He goes, how much were they? I'm like, free. And that's a great thing to be able to tell your spouse that something was free. And sure enough, I was like, okay, maybe I won't hear from him, but that's okay because I have my boot. I will tell you, skiing with one leg, and I have a high arch, my arch is screaming at me during long runs. And there is no way for me to stop and take the weight off. Like you all with two legs can shift your weight. I can't. So I have to lean into my boot more to stretch the ligament out, and it lasts for a few seconds. Then I start skiing again and it starts to seize up. So And I always bruise the front of my shin. But these boots are so old, and they have been in the heat of Arizona dryness for 15 years. So not only are they old boots, they're not really that comfortable on the inside anymore. So anyways, I thought, well, if he does, that's great. If not, I'll handle it. I'll deal with it. Not a big deal. Tuesday comes, and sure enough, first thing in the morning, he goes, I got some boots here. Let me know when you can come in. And I'm like, I'll be right there. And it's a 45-minute drive from up here in Carefree down there where I had to go. But I went in, and he brought 2 pairs of his boots in, both very nice, Solomon and Rossignol. No, Atomic, I think, and Rossignol. And he was just like, here's what we're going to do. This guy pulled out, he goes, I use these liners maybe 8 times ever. And so they are still really brand new, formed to me, but we'll heat it up and we're going to form it to your leg. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my ankle bones and my shin bone are going to love this. And then he goes, here, these are, I talked to my rep, and I want to do an insole for you because you have really high arches. You really need an insole. And if you've ever had personalized insoles made for your running shoes or anything, you know how expensive they are. You know, these for boots run like $170 a pair. Again, I don't have an arch on my plastic foot. I don't need an insole for the left side. So, and you can't flip them and use them left or right. There's a left and there's a right. So he talked to a rep, and he was able to get an insole for me, brand new. And we melded it to my foot and everything with a high arch. He heat pressed the inside liner, made it perfect to my foot. And I walked away with a pair of boots fitted for me for the first time ever since I was 17 years old. I've never had a fitted insole or a fitted liner. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am this year for skiing. And the fact is, all it took was for me to be kind, ask questions, and the answer could have been no, but it wasn't. But had I not asked, the answer was no. I would have walked out with my son in his boots, and I would have skied in my 20-year-old skis, my 20-year-old boots, and dealt with the same issues and just been fine with it because that's just what I'm used to. But because I smiled, because I asked, because I didn't assume that he was giving me those skis, I didn't assume that he had boots to match those for me. I just asked the question, do you think the ski companies, the boot companies would send any? I opened doors. Relationships open doors that you don't even know could be there. And I have been skiing on one leg for 6 years now, and I never have thought to ask these questions or to go in to ask these questions. And I didn't want to spend money on 2 boots where one was going to be used. That isn't financially sound for me. So word to the wise, ask the questions. You don't know. And if the answer is no, then it's no. But that doesn't mean no just there. Like, go around, ask people. If you want to run, find out how you can connect with somebody that's got a running blade. And Nike, if you want one running shoe, and go to the ski places and find out. Go, whatever it is, the activity you want to do. The sky is the limit here, people. And really, quite frankly, if we don't start making those connections, we're always going to feel like the world's against us and it's harder for us. And quite frankly, I feel very blessed by this connection I made with Gil. And quite frankly, he has talked to his reps, and they're looking for a brand new boot for my right leg. And he's like, and you can keep mine. So give me a week or so to connect with him again and see if he's found anything in any of their factories. So I may get a brand new boot fitted for me, because the liners would fit in and out of both boots. I just pull those liners out and put them in the new one. And it was because I spent time with him. I sat there and talked to him. He asked me my story. I told him my story. I told him what I want to do with my life. I told him where I'd been, the heartbreak of it. And when you open yourself up to let people know how human it is to go through the struggles of becoming an amputee, you'd be surprised the doors that open, the hearts that open, and the stories that unfold that bring you in and create a relationship. And I am forever grateful to Gil for spending the time with me, because he could have been making commission off of all this. I'm assuming they use commission. I don't know, but they could have been. And he spent the time with me. He booked time with me on Tuesday. Then he booked time with me to come back for my, I bought bindings, and he even gave me a discount on my bindings because really I'm only going to use one, but they come in pairs. So if I feel like reselling, and he goes, hey, if you want to resell everything, you can. Like, how nice that he spent those days, 3 days with me, getting me set up. And he's like, let me know, you got to send me pictures of you shredding. And I'm so excited for that. But again, I don't know if a lot of people look at people like go through things like that, like I did, and say, well, you're just lucky, or you know people. I only know people because I love talking to people. I didn't know Gil, and Gil didn't even help my son originally. He just was the ticket taker and went back and got his boots and checked everything with him before he left with his stuff. And I just happened to just make a conversation. And so the fact that I opened up with some conversation led me to a very beautiful relationship that allowed me to be gifted by somebody's kindness. And everybody wants to do good things. I really, truly believe in our hearts, human nature is people want to help. And it makes them feel good when they can make somebody else feel good. I know that's how I work. So the answer will always be no if you don't open your mouth, if you don't reach out. I don't think that there's anybody that just happens to be so lucky and at the right place at the right time, and they're just lucky. I think it has to do a lot with personality and perception and manifestation of your own destiny. And you can choose how you want to approach your amputation. If you are okay with sitting around and being unhappy with your situation, then that is the people you draw around you, and you push away the people that are go-getters and happy, and they're the ones that have the connections, and they're the ones that help open doors and things like that. People want to see a warrior. People want to see someone fighting back to live a life. People want to be inspired. Give them that. If you want to do something better with your life and greater with your life, no matter your circumstance, you can do that. But it's about the relationships. It's about opening your mouth and saying, hey, I'm here and I am willing to do whatever. And I think that most of you would be very surprised on what goodness comes out of the world when you put in the goodness, when you put in the spark that people are attracted to. And, you know, I attribute that. I'm very grateful for the way I was brought up, and my dad, who was an initiator of conversations. I watched my dad work a room. He's amazing. And his extroverted personality is what I always aspire to be. I want people to feel comfortable around me. I want people to be educated by what I went through. And that is why I do this podcast. Like, I don't just sit back and people come to my door and go, hey, I have to work really hard. I have to put in the time, but it has always blessed me with some amazing outcome, whether it's a brand new friendship or if it's things like skis and boots. And I appreciate that. Like, that will be for me. I value relationships. That will be a relationship. Like, I will send Gil pictures of our ski trip coming up because he deserves to see that happiness. He deserves to see what the outcome is of his gifting that to me. And that is very important. And it's not burn a bridge now that it's done. Oh, he gave me something, I'm done. That is not how I roll. And that can open other doors because now he's talking to his reps to find me other products, better products, things that will help me because he wants to see me succeed and be a part of that journey. People want to be a part of your success. And if that helps them and gives them a jolt and an inspiration, then let it be and run that just run with it. It's so cool. So I just, I can't tell you how many times I have said to myself, man, just because I did this, then this, and this happened. And it's not the first time. This is not the first time this has happened to me. And it's not because I anything else than I ask. I wonder, I question, I have ideas and thoughts and dreams, and I will manifest what I want out of life. And I know God's a part of my journey, but He's the one that gave me the mouth and the heart to do what I do. So if you can just get out there, you might find out the answer is yes. If you want something bad enough, you will figure it out, but it does take asking the questions and hearing no from time to time, but not giving up hope. So the answer is going to always be no. If you don't ask it, you can't get a yes. It's just kind of like, you know what? You'll never succeed if you don't try. And yeah, you're going to fail, but the failures add up to trying again, trying again, trying again till you succeed. Same thing. The answer is going to be no if you don't ask. And you might get some no's, but don't stop asking because there's going to be a yes in there. And it will benefit you, and you will find yourself in a very bright place, inspiring others and inspiring yourself along the way and achieving the goals that maybe you never thought you could dream to have. So I hope this helps. I hope you noticed this week, I really don't know if a call to action is, well, okay, call to action. Yeah, start asking questions. What is it you want to do? And get out and find out what the answer is. Go to those big stores. Ask what they do with old skis, old boots, old shoes. Do they have extras, spares, things they're getting rid of? You never know until you ask. So this week, go out and ask the questions. Go out, smile. Go out, share your story. Let people know what you're dreaming to do. And say you're going to do it no matter what. Because you can. You're a warrior. I know you are. All right, all. Hope you have a great week. I hope that this inspires you to get out and start making connections. And as always, be healthy, be happy, be you.